Welcome, everyone, to session 5 of Paradise Arrested, the Aftermath. I'm going to just take some quick thanks for our wonderful music by Hunter Rogerson, Critical Role, and probably some other people I'm forgetting. And for providing the music for today. And of course, thanks to all of you watching and for our players putting up with my shenanigans. When we last left off with Paradise Arrested, our apostles were dealing with an unusual situation, a sort of both miraculous yet tragic impossibility. A 6-year-old sparked. Quickly made Onredo. It was now left to an issue of a 6-year-old trying to define what exactly their domain was. There were a lot of confusing questions, uncertainties, awkward conversations, and in the end, it was determined the Onredo was Luck of Onredo of Hope. Through these realizations, our apostles have continue to work together, but they are currently planning to sort of split apart. Some have some questions for their deity, some just simply have reports, and still some answers are needed on what exactly these inky black shadows seen some sessions ago actually mean. We're going to start today with if the evening, it's pretty late at this point. If anyone wants to do anything before essentially going to bed, you of course can speak to your deities now, or if you want to wait till the morning, either is fine. Or if there's something else somebody wanted to do before bed that night.
Saphira is going right back to talk to Lycilia. This is like news that needs to be discussed in her mind.
All right. What is everyone else going to be? And again, if you're just sleeping and maybe talking in the morning, that's perfectly fine.
No, I think if at least one of us is going to deliver this news, that at least in Lithian's mind, he would as well, so that another god or goddess, especially one such as Saphira's goddess, isn't the only one with the news and thus making the early decisions.
Very well, very well. So, Nereus and Rohirri, are you thinking of going to bed for the evening? And of course, you can talk to your deities in the morning, or is there something you want to do the night before you sleep? Just so I have.
I should probably talk to Kathik before. I feel like he's not going to be happy to be kept waiting.
I have a question.
Yes.
To what extent are we the characters? Because it sort of just popped up into my mind that as a player, that Nereus's mission was sent here for this purpose, for this Onredo, which would say to Robbie that his god knew or saw in some way that this was going to happen. To what extent would our characters be aware of that? Does that make sense, the question I'm asking?
Aware, I guess I'm confused as what do you mean aware of what?
So
Why would Robbie's character be aware?
We were all sent here on a mission from our god, right?
Yep.
From our gods, and Nereus is led to the Onredo girl.
Mm-hmm.
That makes Robbie think like, oh shit, did Nereus's god know about this in some way beforehand? So I'm just wondering what
did we
information
share our missions with each other?
Yeah, I guess would be one of
that's the question. I feel like,
yeah.
And I'm happy to say that he did. I don't really care either way, but I don't know that we did.
I feel like Rohirri's got shared either way.
I mean, Saphira would certainly have shared hers, but y'all would be real disappointed.
Yeah, I guess here's the easier question to ask is from our perception, did this Onredo girl or did Nereus basically kind of just stumble upon this Onredo girl and then called us in, Or would we know, like, hey, yeah, I was sent here for like a riddle from my god that led to me being here when she was discovered? Does that make more sense?
I think what I would answer that with is it is Nereus's decision if he explained it as I happened upon here or I was sent here by Miro. And for you, Nereus, either is not a problem. Miro does not bid you to secrecy on things like this.
Yeah. I mean, Nereus has no problem sharing that if people are interested or they ask about it.
Okay.
So to further then answer probably the next question, Lithian, having you, I think you know that Miro seems to sometimes do these weird riddle things, but I'm not sure if you necessarily have a good grasp of like how he might know. And if that is a
Sure.
question you want to, I think you've always lived in very much of the gods know more than me, and I
Yep,
may
sure.
not need to question more.
Mhm.
So if you wanted to question this to Helene today, you could try.
Yep,
I would
yeah, that's
argue
what I
that
was
you
kinda-
never have. That's what I would argue.
Yeah, that's what I'm kind of trying to get around to is if he would. He wouldn't question Helene, but
Yeah.
fucking weird magic god, sure, or knowledge god, sure.
I think maybe this is what I would probably say is this is the most blatant maybe
Mhm.
look at like an was at the right place the right time for an Onrado spark, because Nereus, you being asked to be at the spark of an Onrado for this kind of purpose is not normal. You may be asked to be sent to an Onrado who's already been Onrado, and like that's not
Mhm.
unusual, but as far as like being there for a sparking, I would say that's a little unusual. Being there at the right place at the right time for something to happen, in general, not unusual, though. So, does
Mhm.
that kind of make sense?
Yep.
Okay, cool. All right. We're going to start with... I'm sorry, Nereus. Did you also just want to follow everybody to talk to Mira before bed? It doesn't really matter, the timing.
I mean, may as well.
Okay.
Nereus was originally probably not going to bother reporting because he doesn't know what the next steps are to take. And no, I actually don't think Nereus is going to report.
Okay, that's fine.
He knows that Miro would know these things and that he's going to get another riddle, and that really he knows what he needs to find out, which is about these monsters and
Yes.
and where they are next. And he knows that he's not going to go to Miro unless he needs that riddle. He's got to decipher it either way. So I don't think he's going to report.
Okay. Is there anything special you want to do? Totally fine if you just want to go to bed for the night.
No, Nereus, I think. I don't know. I think he would just go to bed. He's certainly bothered by what's happened, but I don't know if he's bothered in the same way that some of the rest of the party is.
Yeah, absolutely. That would make sense. Okay, perfect. I just want to make sure, and we'll get to you the next morning.
Yeah, for sure.
After
I like
for
that
something.
Good.
Nereus is basically like, I don't want to deal with another riddle right now. I need to sleep.
Yeah,
Listen,
exactly.
He clearly already knows about what happened because he sent me here to this one. And
Exactly.
if I go talk to him now, he's going to say some stupid bullshit that's going to make me mad.
Listen, Nereus has been doing this for a long time.
And then
Yeah.
he'll be thinking about the stupid bullshit.
Yeah.
Right.
All right. So we're going to start with Saphira. Saphira, you return to Lysilia's section, basically, of the Divine Parish. And it's easy enough to lead you to the sort of reflection center. For most people, this area is really kind of just a reflection on just kind of basic prayer. Sometimes the archbishops get a little bit of a talk, but for the most part, it's really just the apostles that get to use it to actually speak to the goddess here. So it is not as lavish as the one in Ter Lysilia. It is a smaller room. Essentially, instead of like a throne, it's more of a reflective surface that you look upon. And as you... Well, how do you call for Lysilia in a situation like this?
I think there's like that moment as she gets there where she's been hurrying along and she's kind of been panicking a little bit, but she like gets there and remembers like, oh, check hair, check makeup, everything like that, and then she goes in and kind of kneels down at this reflecting pool and gently touches two fingers to her lips and then to the pool and says, My goddess, I bid you grant me audience.
It is probably a minute later, which is not unusual for Lycilia. She likes to be fashionably late, as it were. That the water ripples, and you see, as if looking through a mirror, Lycilia. She, you see more of kind of like the top half of her this time instead of like full body, but she still has the sort of that skin that floats in different colors on her, and she looks and gives a big yawn. Isn't it late your time to be coming to see me, my dear Saphira?
I apologize, my goddess. I would not seek you out so late were it not the most dire of circumstances.
Dire? My goodness, what exactly is it that's so dire?
A individual sparked in Sulal Khana and was transformed into Onredo.
As is custom, as must be done.
Yes, of course. However, this individual was 6 years old.
A child. Well, suppose it would not make sense for her to come live in my domain.
And?
I mean, it's very young. Is that... But she was made on Rado, which is all that we can do. It's a shame. I imagine her family must be disheartened, but...
Disheartened. They are devastated, my goddess. Their child will not live to see adulthood.
And what did you do to ease that devastation as my apostle, goddess of pleasure?
I focused on the child herself, trying to help her to discover her domain. And how is it possible that a child has sparked? It should not be able to happen.
No, not ordinarily. The spark is... it's fickle. It always started out as fickle, even before my time. But we have done Gaul so much to control it in the way that we have, but you can still make a beautiful bowl and some leeks can still come out.
My goddess, the leak we're referring to is a child who is going to be dead by their 11th birthday.
Indeed. But with the sort of wisdom she brings, I wonder how many other children will be helped. Saphira, there are many, many hurts and errors of this world that we can only do so much for, which is why it is important to focus on the good, on the things that are lovely, on the things that feel good to us. That is why you're here, is it not?
Of course, but our entire way of life, everything that we've built is based on the idea that we can control this.
And we can. Listen, if we couldn't control this, wouldn't we be seeing more children suddenly sparking?
Isn't one too many?
One is regrettable.
How many need die before it's a concern?
Die. You're focused on the wrong thing here, Saphira. There are, like I said, many things that we're not going to be able to control. But that's not your job. The populace needs to know that we have things under control and that they can still be happy and peaceful.
Yes, of course. I am sorry to bother you so late.
will forgive you this time. You are my favorite porcelain doll, after all. Now, tell me, how are things with the little Athala's artist? Is she soon going to be? Will I soon be seeing her in Terra Lycilia?
There was a unforeseen complication.
A
with her.
complication? My goodness, a complication for you, Miss Mysafira. That's unusual.
She is. Her tastes are not.
Her tastes? Does she not like women?
I think she does. She does not. I don't know that she experiences attraction in that way.
Well, not everything that you do has to be for in terms of physical attraction, doesn't it? You
No.
are skilled in many things, are you not?
We are going to draw in the morning.
Good. There you go. Complication averted. Just as long as that she comes to Terra Lycilia, I will be happy.
What would you bid me do in regards to the child who sparked? I have no doubt the other apostles will be investigating.
They can deal with those problems because their deities might or may believe that they are problems to be solved, but that is not the domain of Lycilia. Our job is to help people feel good. When the sun is too hot, when the night is too dark, when things in our minds are just a little too loud, we have to remember, you have to spread that sort of feeling of joy again, of pleasure again. To not think about those things for a little while. A respite from the horrors of the world. That's what we're all about here.
Yes, my goddess.
Now, is there anything else? You definitely need some beauty sleep, I can tell.
Yeah. No, I'm sorry.
Smile
Apologies.
for me.
Yes, of course.
Good. You have such a nice smile. It's a shame to not see it.
Of course, my goddess.
Good. Good. All right. Well, if there's nothing else, I will let you go.
Yes, I will try to get some sleep.
Good. Let me know when you are successful in your mission with this artist, and I can finally put this issue to bed with Athala. And win. Ta-ta.
But of course.
She swirls into the pool till it is still once more.
I think Saphira kind of like leans back against like a nearby column and just feels sick.
Yeah, what's running through her mind?
Everything feels so very wrong right now. This is something that like affected her, and the response is basically, don't worry about that. And that's very much creeping her out. But so she is eventually going to try and find her way to chambers where she can sleep and try.
Chambers are easy enough to find. Basically, there is a special room that is kept, always kept clean, just for in case an apostle comes by. And it is plush, it is velvet, it is the softest of silks. But tonight, it all just kind of feels like hardwood.
Yeah.
All right. Who would like to go next, Lithian or Rohiri?
Lithian went first last session, so he wants to go last.
All right, Rohiri.
Okay.
So, Rohiri, how you want to talk to your god?
Mhm.
You know that Duskleys, your archbishop, is going to expect to be seeing you in the morning. So, are you gonna waltz on through his section, or what's your plan?
Remind me, where the temples are in the Agora district, right?
No, they're in the Divine Parish.
Okay.
You will notice that there is a very large hole in Kethic's area of the Divine Parish, and there are people hard at work, your family members, to help rebuild this wall.
Look at that. You brought jobs to the family. Congrats.
Job security.
Yeah, exactly. This is how we grow the
Plus,
economy.
they'll probably rebuild it better now, anyways.
Yeah, I'm sure Nearest
Mhm.
would be very proud.
Yeah, we're gonna deal with Kethic, and then I think one kind of outweighs the other a bit.
So when you go in, how are you walking in? Are you just out? Are you trying to hide in any way? There's no. I'm not going to
I
stop you from this. It's just kind
I
of.
think she is 100% just on a mission. Like,
So
she has
as
somewhere she needs to be, and she's going to be there.
as you walk in, you notice that whenever people are murmuring things to each other, there's kind of little glances towards you. There's a couple of some frustrated glares here and there. Nobody says anything to you, but nobody's really coming to help you out either.
Don't know that she needs a lot of help to walk over where she's going, but
So it's easy enough for you to find the reflection room. Pretty much similar to kind of Saphira's. It's very. This isn't glamorous. It's kind of it's a very small room. You're gonna be looking at something more akin to like a reflective piece of metal, almost like obsidian, that
Mhm.
stands up. And how are you calling out to Kefik?
I think she'll probably set Kethic's Warhammer next to that and just kneel until he shows up.
All right. It doesn't take long. A few seconds as Kethic, once kind of similar to before, it's not necessarily like a full body, like almost corporeal, definitely just kind of like lancing through a mirror. And as you do so, Kethic's there. I heard the boom.
I'm glad you did.
Tell me, what made you think of such spells to use on such a small piece of what was that material? Was it obsidian? Oh, no, obsidian. You used adamantine.
Yeah.
I actually no, he wouldn't say that. He would just say, "Tell me, how did you do it?"
A lot of glyphs of warding in a piece of adamantine.
Glyphs of warding. I remember that spell. Used that to keep things out. Very useful. Never thought to use it as a way to keep things blowing up. Ha! Yes. Every time he puts his fist down, it just kind of, the room itself seems to rumble, which is weird because he's not physically here, but it still shakes the room somehow.
Mm-hmm.
Perfect. Now. Keep this to yourself. It wouldn't be good to start blowing up the cities. Oh, Helena, on my back soon enough.
Of course.
Very good. Is that all? You want me to know that you were successful?
I thought you might also want to know that a child sparked into the Anredo of Hope.
Huh. That's fucking weird.
Yeah, that
Well.
was about what the rest of us thought.
Children. They don't even know anything about anything yet. Well, made on Rado, you said? Not Raidery did their job?
They did, but can't help but wonder, should we not be trying to find a way to defend them from sparking until they can at least understand what they've sparked into?
Listen, I'm not really in this sort of the magic-y things of Sparks, but we know what we're doing, and well, honestly, I think that's my job is to kind of defend if things start, attacking us again. And I don't think a 6-year-old child is going to be attacking much. You kind of hear that he seems to sort of have a one-track mind and did not really quite answer your question.
Yeah, I think Rohirri just kind of nods because she realizes she's not getting him off this track because, you know.
God of Bastions, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, you said a hope. It's not like Onredo of mass destruction or something.
No, but it was fascinating that she could see the burdens that everyone carried.
Huh. Well, what burdens was she seeing on you? You burdened, Rohirri?
Not particularly, as it turns out. I
Of
quite enjoy
course.
my job.
Good. Good. That's what I want to hear. I was going to say, because you know what you got to do with that burden?
Blow it up?
Yes. You understand. Go with my will and just tell Duskleys he needs to get the stick out of his ass or something.
Gladly.
Good. Good. I'm sure it'll be fine. All right. What are you doing here? You can ask him more things. He's just kind of impatient.
I don't think I have anything else to ask him.
Okay. All right. He just kind of whimpers on like a grandpa who probably needs to go to bed as he just kind of waves you off.
Mm-hmm.
When you're done here, just, you can get back. Once you're done with all the stuff here, just can get back to the Ter Catholic.
Of course.
And he swirls out. And do you go to your room that night?
Yeah, if the Archbishop wanted to deal with me in the morning, then we'll save it
Yeah.
until the appointment instead of, like, fucking midnight or whatever the
I
fuck
don't know.
time it is now.
Might kind of be a power move to show up at midnight like you wanted to talk to me.
You want to talk to me in the morning? It's morning.
Actually, yeah, if it's just after
12:01.
midnight,
Good.
that is something Rohirri would do.
Oh, God. Would you like to try?
Oh, that's hilarious, though.
What time of day is it?
Oh, it's midnight. It's 1 a.m. It's that kind of time.
Nah. I'll wait.
You just find when you're near where so Duskleys had to be taken to another part of this whole parish, and I would say that if you try to go near him, there's a lot of guards that just kind of give you a
Yeah,
look.
then definitely not gonna do the 1 a.m. power move.
All right. When you go to your room, it's furnished. You do notice, however, that it's not the softest sheets. It looks like they changed the sheets. It's kind of like a harsh
That's petty.
cotton, kind of a wool sort of mix.
I feel like Rohirri's used to this, to be honest.
Probably not the first time that you've had things made uncomfortable for you.
It's so petty. Blew a hole in your wall, sir. Go replace their sheets with like 30 count cotton. Damn.
So, Rohirri, you go rest that night, and I guess it's better than outside, so that's cool. Lithian.
Yeah, I go. I feel like I would. Oh, that's probably why I was gonna wait till the morning, was to accompany the girl and the family. I would wait till the morning.
Okay. Lithian, it is easy enough for you to find your room, which is well furnished, lots of plants. You breathe pretty well in here, and very comfortable.
I think I would. Is there a way for me to stay like near the family and the girl, just in case some other apostle shows up and thinks I'm gonna take them to my god in the morning?
So you'd be staying at the Classy Cornucopia, which I would say they don't stop you. They're just kind of surprised and confused. Apostle Lithian, our accommodations are, you know, good. Well,
Your
but
accommodations are fine. You have a noble and well-established inn here. I'm sure that people from all around will want to visit, knowing not just what has happened here, but that the apostles have stayed here on occasion as well.
Yeah, of course, of course. And they give you a key, and you find that they basically gave you the king suite,
Yeah.
as much as a king suite you can have
That'll
in a
work.
place like this. So you all sleep. You all get your long rest. Congratulations. If anybody needs anything they need to do, I know Nereus has some dice to roll for.
I rolled them earlier.
Oh, did you? Okay,
Yeah.
perfect.
I got
Perfect.
17 and 11.
Nice. Well, 17's not bad, but
Mm-hmm.
all right. So, we are going to start with actually we're going to go back to you, Lithian. So it is now morning. And the Raidery have woken up and arrived at the inn room where Luck and her parents are staying, and they are getting ready to head out with her, unless there was something you wanted to do before that.
Nope. So long as everything seems fine and, proceeding as usual, he would just accompany them to Helene's area of the city.
All right. They walk with you. Locke seems Onredo are strange because they don't have that ethereal, they're not, ethereal spirits necessarily, which is what a lot of people kind of see the deities as, but there is still just kind of that weird like shifting of colors on her skin. As she walks out, and she seems pretty bright and cheery. Her parents have obviously not slept. It is pretty clear. And she is just talking about random things that come to mind. You can tell by the way she's talking that she seems to be sensing people nearby. And her parents just kind of nodding like, that's nice, sweetie. That's nice. That's nice.
Question. My Helene's Rebuke, the legendary item that I have, that's a cloak, right?
Yes.
Okay. As we're leaving the inn, because I don't want us to potentially get stopped by, people or to have too much of this news spread before, I guess we're ready to talk about it, and have, like, statements and stuff on it. So I would offer to let Locke wear my cloak, which was a gift to me personally from Helene, if she'd like to.
Really? That's a pretty cloak.
It is. Would you like to wear it to meet Helene?
I get to meet Helene? The parents kind of look surprised.
That is the plan. You are very special.
Oh. Can I go meet Helene? It looks like she got really excited and realized that she still gets used to having to ask permission, and her parents just go, yeah, of course. This is what you get to do. Yay! And she takes your cloak and she starts spinning around with it.
And with that, then we would continue on.
All right. So you all continue on to Helene's section of the Divine Parish. There's a little bit of some talk as some people come as her section of workers and followers and priests kind of look kind of in surprise. Usually in Onrado, it's kind of a known thing when one is being introduced or
Mhm.
given, sort of. And so to kind of have people like be unaware of an obvious Onrado, and of course a child Onrado, is kind of setting everybody abuzz.
I think he would, anyone who kind of like looks or lingers too long, I think he'd want to sort of just give them this look like, you know, kind of like, don't go spreading things, keep quiet, keep your mouth shut for now type deal.
Mm-hmm. They listen. You are the apostle, and so immediately many try to focus on work, while as best they can, and you are led straight to the reflection room. Helene's reflection room is kind of its own small pond garden. Not as big and full of flora like the room you're used to at Terre Helene, but it is well enough, and the parents are asked to wait outside of this while you bring Locke inside.
Mm-hmm.
Whoa! So is she gonna come out of that?
Her image will appear there in that pool.
Oh, okay. Man, I've never talked to a god before. What do I do? Do I have to like bow like 3 times and clap my hands 10 times?
Just be respectful. She will ask you questions if she deems it and answer to the best of your ability.
Oh, okay. Is she gonna ask me questions about people like you guys did?
She might.
Oh, okay. I am ready.
Right, he goes in, kneels before the pool, and waits for her to do the same.
Locke kind of looks at you, kind of looks around, and then realizes, oh, and so she goes and she kneels before you. You kind of notice that this room starts to darken as it usually does, kind of like imitating a night sky.
Mhm.
But she herself is kind of glowing a little bit. Locke is, as probably is normal for most Onrado. It is not too long later that the waters shift, and you see an image of Helene. And she looks at you, sees the child, kind of furrows her brow, and looks back to you. Who might this be?
This is Locke, a newly sparked Onrado child from last night that Nereus was sent to discover.
Ah, that would explain some things. She looks to, tell me, child, by what do you name yourself? Oh, I'm Locke, Domain of Hope. I deal with things about hope. Hope? Huh. I see. And how old are you? I am this many. Interesting. She kind of furrows her brow a little bit. Sparking Onrado is something that I can at times feel through the world, but this one is young, I see.
Yes, some of the other apostles have been quite disturbed by it.
Well, that is understandable, but as with nature, there will always be certain things that come out of the ordinary. Perhaps there is. Go ahead.
Her parents are also here outside, so that we may figure out how this circumstance came to be. From our initial talk, it seems that their expectations and hopes for the girl placed some immense pressure on her.
Pressure is a strange thing, after all. Sometimes it makes diamonds, and sometimes it makes breakable coal. But it seems that you were able to bring her here before any of the other representatives of the other first ring requested her.
Yes. Well, I do not share the same level of urgency as Apostle Saphira may with this happening. There are those that will, and when word gets out and begins to spread of a 6-year-old sparking, especially if the circumstances of it are included, it could cause quite the stir amongst some of the people in population. So I thought it best that we keep it in hand and get ahead of it as quickly as we can.
Very good, Lithian. Yes, I'll have to see. Usually these sorts of things become deep, drawn-out discussions between us and the First Ring, but I believe given the extenuating circumstances, it will be for the best that this Anredo comes under my protection. What do you think, Locke? Are you willing to help serve me, Helene, Goddess of Change? Oh, well, I mean, I was supposed to help with Athala, but you're pretty cool, too. Yes, my child, of course. Goddess is the domain of hope. And what exactly do you see, Locke? I see pots. Everybody has a different pot and different stuff in the pot. And I think they're going to be just fine lifting those pots, but sometimes they gotta believe that they gotta lift those pots. Oh, I see. Pots. She kind of looks to you, Lithian, for any other kind of adult
We-
explanation.
Believe that these pots are a representation of one's burdens or the expectations that they or others put upon themselves. Take Rohirri, for example. The things that Rohirri is put in charge of tend to be, given her skill set, simple. Things that she enjoys, and so she has a small pot that is not overburdened or overflowing. Someone like Saphira, on the other hand, who is at a moment in her life where she has mounting pressure and expectations put upon her with no way to deal with them, well, she has a large pot that could spill over at any moment.
That is fascinating. He didn't want me to tell them what his pot was. Well, that does not surprise me. Not everybody wants to know what their pot looks like, my child, and not everybody should get to know what other people's pots look like. Oh, are pots like secrets? She kind of looks to you, Lithian.
In when it comes to the responsibilities that I carry and bear, having information like how big someone's pot is or what it may contain can be advantageous, which means when people have that information about me, it would be to a disadvantage of myself if they so chose to use it in such a way.
Oh.
Does that make
Oh,
sense?
man. I think so. So, I can't give people an advantage. Oh, I can give people an advantage when I tell them about your pot.
If they knew how to use that information, yes.
Oh, man.
Would you like to tell me what you see in my pot?
In your pot? Well, so your pot is weird because, okay, you know how pots are supposed to be symmetrical? Because otherwise they kind of make pretty not good pots.
Pots can be used for different things, but yes.
Yours is, the shape is not symmetrical. It's like you got one part that's tall and skinny, you got another part that's big and wide, and inside of it, it's got water because I can see through it, and at the very bottom, it's a lot of rocks.
Yes, that sounds about right.
Well, I suppose, and of course, do you think that Lithian has what it takes to carry this misshapen pot? Yeah, I believe he'll get it. He's got it. I know that. I know it. She gives you a thumbs up.
Thank you.
Even weird pots can be carried. You just gotta be careful how you carry them.
Mm.
Of course. She is quite bright, isn't she?
She is.
I do wonder what other sorts of things she might know. I thought I wasn't supposed to give secrets, so I don't give people advantages. Well, as you'll be serving me, right? Yeah. Well, I am a goddess, and therefore it is most helpful when I know the sorts of pots that people carry. Oh. Okay. So I can tell the gods, but I don't tell other people. We'll work on the nuances, perhaps.
If there's no other questions for Locke, my goddess, perhaps she can wait outside so we may talk about some other business.
I don't have any questions for her at this moment, but perhaps when she is finally able to move to Ter Helene, there may be some other things that I can be able to speak with you much more easily. Okay. I've never been to Ter Helene before. I think you will find it very beautiful. Now, Locke, if you could wait with your parents, I'm just going to be finishing up with Lithian for a little bit. Okay. It was good to see you, goddess. And she does another bow with her head and then snaps it back up and looks at you with this very big eye look of, did I do that right?
He gives her an affirmative nod.
Okay. I'll see you later, I think. And then she walks out of the room. And once the door is fully closed again, Helene sighs a bit. Was there anything of interest you were able to glean from her when you had your time with her?
Nothing more than what we've given to you now. It is a bit curious that the event of her sparking was something that didn't reveal itself to you, but perhaps Miro it did, as he had sent Nereus there.
Miro.
But otherwise, no.
You have to understand that, with my domain, I have. Think of it this way. When I look at the needs of Elkanah, I am looking at a whole forest of things. Miro has a tendency to wander through the trees, and every once in a while he seems to be right at the right spot to see a strange tree growing.
To see change coming.
I suppose it's more of that he seems to just, when he walks through, he decides to kind of search a section, and through that is able to see perhaps details that I am unable to, since I am looking at the whole forest instead.
Well, speaking of details that we don't always see, the visit to Theord was very successful. If someone from that I trust assisting him with the added stress of his position, and it seems that his god is building yet a bigger, more powerful bomb than ever before.
Baratos, what are you doing? What have you done with the plans for the item? Have you destroyed them?
We don't yet have them, but if that is what you would like to be done, then I will see it done.
Baratos's people, they always have plans. They always have things that they have written down. It is very important that we make sure those plans do not fall into the wrong hands.
And what of the apostle who has those plans in their head?
If you say that Theord is being looked at by someone of ours, I think it will be easy enough to make sure that such plans are either averted from or forgotten.
As you wish.
But very good. This could have been quite the catastrophe. Well, do you know the specifics of how this bomb is supposed to work?
All that Robbie recalls is that it had something to do with containment, because they were thinking about using it to try and contain the inky, shadowy creature things. So I will
Yes.
relay to her everything that Theord had told him. And then also add on to that, for some reason, Rohirri blew a giant hole in the wall of her. What was it? I want to say her pope, but I know that's not right.
Archbishop.
Her archbishop.
In the hole of the Pope.
Yes, in the wall of her archbishop's home or something, and I helped to smooth it over.
Blew open a Pope hole.
That
That
is
hole.
certainly, I would say that is both generous but forthright for you to be involved. Kethig has been, I don't know what it is with this new apostle of his. He's supposed to be only leading over bastions, but he's an apostle that's making explosives like one of Baratos.
Are we sure there's no relation?
Kethig and Baratos have always been like brothers, but lately I think there haven't been really talking. I think Kethig simply misses having a war to be part of. He doesn't exactly do well when it's peaceful, despite him being about walls and bastions from the beginning. Either way, I would ask that you look into these plans, and I need you to. I don't know exactly how detailed they have been. Some of this may be simply what they were hoping it would look like, and some of this may be more specific of a plan. The more specific, the, well, more problematic it is. So, that being said, though, certain concepts perhaps it would be helpful for us to be aware of. Therefore, I would like you to take a look at them and make your judgment.
As you wish.
And thank you once again for bringing this new Onredo to my attention. We will see what we can find from her parents. Unfortunately, you know as much as we all do that when it comes to sparks, we have a system in place. But, well, some unusual anomalies can certainly occur. Do you have any questions for?
No, I don't think he has anything else, so he will just bow in acknowledgement and wait for her to either vanish or dismiss him.
All right, and she will bow to you, and she will spirit away. As you walk outside, you see the parents kind of talking, and Locke is just kind of running around with your cloak. Misshapen pot! I will help you carry it. You realize that with your cloak, she seems to be, like, even though superheroes don't exist, you can tell that she's really taken this cloak to feel very heroic.
Mm-hmm.
For I am Luck, Amredo of Hope!
You're not getting that cloak back.
He smiles and will send someone off to go find some fancy cloak somewhere to re-exchange for his own. I don't think that, even as an Unradio of Hope at 6 years old, I don't know how much she needs to worry about critting on a 19 or 20.
She when they find a cloak, she's at first not sure because she really, really likes your cloak.
Mhm.
But then they tell her that they can put any design on the back of it, while yours cannot be altered in any way. And she decides that there needs to be a unicorn on the back of hers.
And we will have it done.
And a W.
For Wumbo.
No, wait. And the parents will approach you. So is the goddess Helene accepting of her?
Yes, of course.
Okay. We are told that we will be staying here and at some point moving to Ter Helene after some more preparations are being made. This is
Yes.
the mom.
And you needn't worry, from here on out, your child and yourself will be well taken care of, as you had desired, or I suppose, hoped.
There's kind of an uneasy, strained smile and laugh shared between them as they nod. She has certainly lived up to the hopes we've always had for her. Whether that is good or bad, I'm not sure.
Well, one thing's for sure, you will have plenty more time to figure that out than she will, and he will make an exit.
You just hear sobbing in the background and the knocking of a chair. Just kidding. Okay.
Yeah. No kidding.
Got him!
Got him.
Sound of a...
Speaking of a 19 or 20, jeez.
Yeah, no kidding.
You know,
All
you want me to
right.
roll to see if I crit on that? Was that a vicious? Would that be a vicious mockery? You
don't-
think?
I don't think you need to roll.
No, I don't think either of them are surviving the night.
Yeah. Let us.
We're gonna ask for a 3-legged chair and some rope.
Yeah, dude.
Woo!
You just became their 13th reason.
Damn.
Oh God. All right. We're gonna transfer over to Nereus. Nereus, you wake up from your room. Everything seems to be in order. When you leave, oh, I forgot her name. I think. I was gonna. Your archbishop. She's a woman. She's also like middle aged, so she's probably like maybe 15 years younger than you, maybe 20. More of like her 50s. You know that the Archbishop of Miro really is more of like kind of like a deals more with the practical matters of Miro's domain. So she's the one that's more interested in sort of the economics, making sure people are paid and, you know, businesses smoothly. So your relationship has always been pretty easygoing. She knows that you are dealing with things she doesn't understand nor wants to understand, and meanwhile, she just makes sure that she does her job well enough that doesn't become your problem. But she just politely nods. She doesn't want to get in your way, but she lets you know that any accommodations that you need are yours for the taking.
I thank her. And that I will use those accommodations until I have discovered where next I need to go on my journey, which I hope to do very soon.
She nods understandingly. While you're talking, you hear a voice in your head of someone using the telepathic communication. Nereus, you don't happen to be It's Sul Kana, do you? You do recognize this voice. This is Arya, the apostle of Athala, goddess of the arts. Usually she's very self-assured, kind of cocky and snide, but she sounds scared.
Am I in Zul Arcana?
Yeah, you're in Sul Arcana.
Zul Arcana. Okay.
Nearest sometimes forgets where he is. It's at his advantage, especially when he wakes up in the morning.
Yeah, it's early onset dementia, and he
That's why he's running for president.
That's why I'm running exactly.
Damn it.
I also ate a bear that I hit once on the road.
Oh, Jesus.
It's a Zen
Wait.
cone. If you meet a bear on the road, eat it.
Is it dementia or brain worms?
It's little column A, little
How is
column
column
B.
B?
We know that he travels abroad a lot and eats strange food, so
Correct.
could have picked up a parasite somewhere.
It's
Mm.
syphilis. It's late stage syphilis.
If
So-
someone in this party dies of syphilis and it's not Saphira, I will be shocked.
She's gonna die of dysentery. Make sure to boil that water, kids. So I'll respond back. You said her name is Althea?
Arya.
Arya Stark.
Yes.
I will ask her how it's going with the Faceless Men. And, I am in Sul Arcana, and ask how I can help.
Could you, could you meet me, in the Agora district, actually, no, she wouldn't say that. She would say,
Arcana's a real gabagool.
yeah, could you
I say.
meet me, in the Thala section of the Divine Parish? It's very urgent.
I say that I'll be right there. Is it far?
No, you're already in the Divine Parish, and you know where Thala section is, so.
I head to Athala's embassy in the Divine Parish.
Yes, embassy
home.
is definitely the word I meant to use and have not been using for the last hour and a half.
It's a different word. It's a different word in Tiefling.
exactly. So when you go inside, Athala's embassy is probably what's the most striking about it is it looks more like an art museum than it looks like an embassy. There's lots of paintings, there's lots of statues. But when you enter, Arya is, you can see that she's been kind of pacing near the front lobby area, and she sees you, and she runs up. She doesn't look like, she looks very tired. I'll just take you into my antechamber, and pulls you back. You arrive in basically in her kind of receiving area of her room, where there's chairs and tables and stuff like that, and sits you down. Can I get you tea or wine or?
Whatever is the matter, dear? No, I'm fine. What's going on? You seem, to put it lightly, most distressed.
It's Everine. There's just something's not right. Since our gods work together, it's usually expected that we will work together as well. But he's been on a separate journey ever since we saw those strange inky creatures. He's been doing some research on his own without my help. And I haven't heard from him in a little bit. And, I believe he's going to be arriving back to Sul Alcana soon, but something's off about him.
When was the last time you saw him?
When you all did. When we were all together fighting those creatures.
Where's he been doing his research?
I know he has been, he first was going for something in the mountains. Sorry, let me look at the map real quick. Here, I'll just pull you guys to the map so y'all can see what I see. I know he's been somewhere near in Kethek's Embrace, although in the beginning he said that he couldn't tell me the full thing there because it was going to be dangerous. I of course insisted that I had to go with him, but he wouldn't let me. But I also know that he has been traveling also to Anakori Rosalinde on the other side of the continent. And now he says that after not hearing from him in the last couple of days, he's finally returning to Suolkana, but his voice, it's just wrong. He said he said he would talk to me. He had to talk to me right away in Suolkana. But it wasn't like him. It didn't sound like him.
I see. Where did he say he wished to meet you?
He wanted to meet me at the cemetery.
Interesting choice of locale. Not good.
I just don't know what on earth he could be looking into. His voice was wrong, and he said he was going to tell me the truth. I don't know what truth he's talking about.
Did you ever see him doing his research? Did he do any of it here?
No, as soon as he went to Terrestrin right after the battle, and we figured we would meet up again later, and then he said that he had a lead, and he would be off.
Interesting. Most interesting.
He as part of his as part of his connection with the god Esterin, he keeps a lot of scrolls of ways to move around quickly. So that is why he's able to move from the mountains to the west side of the continent in just a day. But I don't know what on earth he could have found in just a couple of days that would be so big.
Yes. In Kethek's embrace, of all places. I think the wisest course of action would be to ensure that we meet good Everin in the graveyard with as many people as possible. I don't
Right.
think it's wise for you to go alone.
Yes, of course. I contacted you because I knew I'd be able to. Do you know of any other apostles here?
Oh yes. We have a literal gaggle of them.
Oh, that's
And
fortunate.
for those that aren't, I can reach them. Give me just a moment. I'm going to use the psychic link.
Psychic
she
lance
just-
on her.
Is it what?
I thought you were about to say I'm gonna use psychic lance.
I
Like,
use
whoa,
I use psychic lance on her, knock her out, and then reveal myself to be Everin. I take my mask off and I go, the truth is that death is the only truth. And I go, ha 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 ha. And then I turn into a xenomorph. But after I do that, and I wake her up and shake her, and I say, hey, cut that out, you're dreaming. I will reach out to everyone and explain why I was called, and that there is something very wrong with our fellow Apostle Everin, and to any who can or are willing, I think we should meet him in the graveyard where he wishes to meet.
I think
Could-
he's coming closer to evening.
I'll say that too.
For those of us whose brain is real dumb and doesn't remember Everine, could
No,
we
you're
get
fine.
a could we get a
He
a
is
little
the
recap?
apostle for the goddess. For God Estering, god of education.
Okay.
He's always been a very logical, studious guy. As the apostle of education, his job is mainly that of researching, crossing the world, looking for things to categorize, to learn, to all that kind of stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So him adventuring and looking into these places is probably not that weird. Arya insists that part of the reason it was strange is she usually could go with him.
Right, right. Did we meet him at the celebration?
You guys,
Okay.
I think he played chess or something with Nereus.
Gotcha.
Oh
gotcha.
yeah, that's
Yep,
right.
yep.
We played chess and
And then I think we maybe exchanged like a few words when we got to the village where like the things
Right.
were attacked.
Yep.
Okay.
And
okay,
and
okay.
he told you he was going to go back to Terrace Esterin to look more into this to see if there's
Right.
any old tomes that they have, collections and stuff like that.
yeah, he's gonna go and be a nerd.
Yes, that's the perfect way to describe it.
Yeah.
He is a big old nerd.
Whatever. Let's just give him a wedgie. Probably do critical damage. Guys.
Super funny.
Thank you.
I was laughing, but my mic wasn't picking it up for some
No,
reason.
it was probably because it was so high pitched. Yeah.
Mhm.
It's true. It's true.
No, that's fair. Yeah. So we're gonna have to wait till the evening to go to the graveyard. Guy's definitely a necromancer. Let's just call that out right now.
I mean, he was probably gonna put this other apostle. Is she an apostle, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. He's probably just gonna put her in the ground and be like, "Look, freshly
Yeah.
dug grave for you."
Yeah. He's gonna be like, I already bought the plot. Aren't I a nice guy?
Yikes.
So, yeah, 100%. That actually sounds metal as hell. You invite somebody to like a standoff, and then you like hand them the receipt that you bought them a grave plot. That's crazy.
under their own name, so it doesn't
un-
come back to you,
Right,
obviously.
under their own
right.
name, and they're like, "What the hell?" And you're like, "You're gonna need this."
Yo, but if you lose that duel, people are gonna make fun of you for eternity.
Oh, absolutely.
100%.
Like,
But you know what?
You better be able to cash that check.
No, you know
But
what?
if
You
you
know,
can't,
what
it's
I
not
say.
your problem.
You know what I say? Either way, they're talking about you. Okay. No such thing as bad
Famous,
press.
yeah, I was gonna say famously, no such thing as bad press.
That's right. You're talking about it. Okay. I don't think that. I don't really have anything special that I need to do before that evening. Besides, I'll cast Mage Armor on myself, and other than that, I don't really have anything that I need to do before the evening, and we're not gonna. I don't think there's any.
I know Saphir and Rohirri have got some things.
Yeah.
to finish up.
Yeah,
Listen,
for sure.
Saphira got your message, but that's a problem for future Saphira, and present Saphira has her own problems.
Yeah, but those problems never go away.
Are they
Ugh.
trying to have sex with a fucking person? Is that what the?
Other things.
Oh, okay.
Arya just asks if she's pretty frightened, and she just asks if you kind of stay with her, unless you've got.
Yeah.
any kind of
No, I don't
business.
have anywhere to be. I'm happy to stay with her and talk it out and. Yeah, we couldn't get there. Yeah, no. Or actually, I guess, is there an embassy for, Esterin?
Yes, there is.
Has he been to it? Does she know anytime recently?
She's not sure. She hasn't been there.
Okay.
And but she's willing to walk with you if there's anything you want to inquire there.
I think I'll just send a message to the
Okay.
embassy, and ask them politely, feigning ignorance that I don't know where Everin is, when the last time they saw him was, when the last time he visited was.
Are you kind of sending like a magical sending message kind of a thing?
No, I'm just gonna pay a kid to run the letter
Okay.
over. Yeah.
Gonna give a copper to Tiny Tim to run it over.
Yeah.
We will resolve that in a moment.
Ah.
Saphira, you have your little date, rendezvous, however you want to call it, in, if I recall, in the Empty Pillar.
So if Saphira was off her A game last time, she is off her C game today. I don't think she looks very good as she gets there in the morning. She did not sleep very well. And maybe for the first time in decades, she really half-assed her makeup, and
She's just
she is-
wearing her UGG boots and her hoodie today.
You
Mhm.
know what? It's laundry day. Like it's she's not looking her best today. as she,
Yeah.
You know
gets
what?
there.
I don't think this artist cares.
Yeah.
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 So Psyche is
Show hole.
sitting at one of the benches, seems to be sketching something when you. How do you approach her?
I think she has that kind of moment like when she's a little distance away where she's like, "Oh right, I'm supposed to do something," and she kind of saunters over, but very quickly just kind of falls out of it and just sits down next to her.
Oh, you're here. I apologize. I came a little bit too early. Oh, Saphira, are you all right?
Am I? Yes. I apologize. I had worried that I was late.
Oh, no. Never. I just simply get when it comes to making times and plans, it's hard not to have my head in the clouds with a new idea.
I see. What are you drawing?
She kind of shows you that she's actually, let me describe the empty pillar first of all. The empty pillar is a kind of a triangular shape little section that is covered on most sides except for the bottom by the river. And part of the reason it's called the empty pillar is because in the center of the sort of section is a big pedestal in a way, and kind of looks like it would hold some kind of like statue or something of the sort, but it does not. And you are all told that this is because it is meant to be sort of the most even ground of the place. And the empty pillar is where all sections of Sul Alcana can meet together for discussion, forum, news from the first ring deities. But when it's not being used in such a way, people tend to mill about it, kind of almost like a park in a way, or deep reflection on their own thoughts on things. It's meant to be like a neutral ground, sort of, in Sul Alcana between religion, commerce, and people's residential. She shows you. She has drawn that empty pedestal, and it looks like she has been erasing and trying to draw something on the pedestal. I know you're not supposed to, of course. No one is ever going to build something on the empty pillar, but I like to think what could have been there.
And what do you see on the empty pillar?
Well, I first tried to think that maybe it would be the first ring deities all in some way, but then I thought, well, how do you explain the second and the third rings and all of that? And I don't know. So far, all I have is this sphere.
A sphere.
Just this idea of a culmination of all things equally, you know?
It can be hard to imagine.
What would you see on the pillar?
I don't know. It is as it is, empty. I've never thought of it as anything else.
Well, I guess that's the point. It's imagination.
I apologize. I am not very good company this morning. I saw something yesterday that disturbed me.
No, not at all. What is on your mind?
She definitely thinks about this because, she definitely should not say a whole lot. But eventually she glances over. I saw an Onrado created.
Oh,
Not the first time, of course. I've seen it many
right.
times,
Of course.
but never once so young.
I see. And what was so... sorry, I'm trying to do something real quick. I'm just trying to change music up a little bit. Okay. No, that's not quite what I want. I want something a little sad.
Stroll through Nicodranus isn't bad.
Stroll through
I
Nicodranus.
feel like that's always your go-to, and I'm like, I need something that's not happy, but it's not
It's
battle
very
music.
It's very middle.
For Stroll Through Nicodranus.
Yeah.
Where is Stroll through Nicodranus? Oh, found it, I think. Yep. Thank you. That works. A young child sparked? But how? Who
Well,
would...
she didn't say that. She just
Oh,
said
sorry, what
never
did she-
someone so young she had seen.
Oh, never someone so young. So young? How young are we speaking of?
Too young.
Hmm.
When I saw it, perhaps I saw the same thing as your empty pillar. Where once there should have been a future for them, now it's just empty.
Oh, Saphira, your heart is so soft. You care so deeply. I did not, pardon, I guess I never knew that the Apostle of Lycilia could care so deeply about something like this.
Neither did I. If you'd asked me 2 days ago whether I would have meant anything to me, I don't know what I would have told you. I didn't sleep last night.
It's hard to deal with the things that bother us sometimes. This world's a scary place.
But that she suddenly seems to catch hold of herself. That is why I'm here after all, to help us move past such burdens.
Yes. Well, surely if such a thing still affects you in such a way, then perhaps you are most equipped to know how to move past. Forgive me, I've always thought of Lycilia's teachings as sort of avoidance of the problem. Perhaps I shouldn't have said that. I'm so sorry. That was incredibly rude of me. Please, whatever punishment I must have.
Oh God. She holds up a hand. It is
Oh,
all right.
spankings it will be then.
I mean, look, it's what it's gonna be. No, she holds up a hand. You don't need to apologize. My lady preaches pleasure and joy because there are too many things in this world that are troublesome, worrying, painful. And there are deities whose role it is to deal with those things. It is our purpose to... Her voice just trails off.
To what? To remind people of something?
Yeah. That everything is fine. That everything is going according to plan.
Saphira, you are fascinating. I will admit, when I first met you, I was afraid that you would just be all about beauty and sex appeal. But there's so much more to that, isn't there? I always thought the great Saphira would never let her makeup run from crying, but here you are now. It's
There are certain expectations that I am supposed to maintain in public.
too bad. Honest expression is a beautiful look on you.
You have a unique perception of beauty.
Well, I suppose that it's because I draw people in all sorts of instances.
roles and all.
Exactly. I will admit there's a lot of infighting within Athala's temple about what beauty should look like. Some of them are actually more on Lysilia's side than you would like to believe. She kind of looks a little irritated at this.
I find that many in Lysilia's temple are obsessed with the physical. I don't believe that there can be anything else, and that the endless pursuit of perfection is all there is in the world. Sometimes I wonder if we don't need people who would be willing to speak of what you speak of.
You think so?
I think perhaps it would be a useful point of view that is sadly too absent right now in Lysilia's temple.
I see.
Perhaps you would come and educate us sometime.
Me? Educate you?
Yes, you could be my guest in Terra Lysilia.
Oh. My goodness. I mean, I suppose if the apostle of Lysilia thinks that would be a good lesson, I would want to intrude.
Not at all. You would be there as my guest, and I'm certain Lysilia would be. She can't help but kind of grin inwardly at the thought of this girl talking to Lysilia. I'm sure Lysilia will be intrigued by your way of thinking.
To speak to Lysilia? My goodness. Well, our goddesses have not always been, of course they're part of the First Ring. They work together as they have to, but I know some of the followers and such of Athala do not always see eye to eye with those of Lysilia. Are you sure that yours would welcome me?
No. But that's the nice part about being the apostle. I don't have to suffer their opinions on it.
My goodness. As an apostle, you get to be so, what's the expression? Throw your weight around?
I don't often pull rank outside the bedroom, but occasionally.
I'm afraid, I laugh only because I know, of course, of the reputation of followers of Lysilia. I've never exactly felt at home with such things.
That we are all hooers.
Amongst other things.
We do love freely. That is very true of those in Terra Lysilia. It is a true expression of pleasure, of joy, of connection. But not everyone who is a follower of Lysilia is like that.
Certainly you're not like that.
I suppose as her apostle, I have to be representative of all aspects of joy and pleasure, not just sex. Though I will admit that that is probably my best.
When you say you have to be of all aspects of joy, does that mean of also the sometimes lack of it?
She considers that for a moment. I don't know. If there is another way to be in this world, I'm not certain that I know it. I've done this my whole life.
Is there another way to be you want to be? She points to the empty pillar. If that was your pillar, what would you want to see there?
live forever. I have limited time. I suppose I would want to see something that makes a difference.
Yeah, me too. All I do is just draw, and Athala speaks the importance of art, but sometimes I wonder if it's enough.
Do you not believe her when she does?
Well, of course I believe her. She very quickly covers up. It's just sometimes I wish there was more, you know?
Art can inspire, but it doesn't make change.
Right.
You wish to make change.
I wish to meet the people where they're at, but that's never
Hard
been
to do so in a restricted temple.
It is.
I understand. My duties often take me away from my temple, away out into where people are, but they don't see a person. They see a fantasy in their head.
Well, when I look at you, I don't see a fantasy. I see someone who has been told to wear a sort of pretty mask and outfit, and if only people could see just how you are without that. Like what I saw in our drawing the other day.
I'd like to tell you there's something beneath that mask, but I don't know that there is.
Of course there is. I see it right now.
She nods. Think on my offer.
I will.
She nods and stands up. Have a lovely day.
And you as well, Saphira. Thank you.
Heads off.
What is Saphira thinking?
She feels gross because she feels like she manipulated that poor girl,
Mm-hmm.
and yet she's not certain how much of it was honest.
Interesting.
Or afraid too much of it was honest.
That is definitely what she's afraid of.
Let's head over to Rohirri.
Oh boy.
What
Lithian,
you gonna blow up today?
Lithian, is there anything you wanted to do before the meeting with Everine? And Neris, I know you need a message back.
I don't think so, because some of the stuff that I'm contemplating, I think I need a chance to talk to the DM one-on-one before it happens.
That is incredibly fair. Rohirri.
Oh boy.
Oh, I need a different song for you.
Uh-oh. What kind of theme do you need?
Start with
I
this.
suggest like the Cinder King Cometh, or you know, if you're gonna blow something else up or set something on fire.
Honestly, let's just do Kethek's theme. Called Fire.
Of course it is.
So, you awaken, and when you leave your room, there is a guard waiting for you. Apostle Rohirri, I am here to take you to Archbishop Duskleys.
I can find my way on my own, thanks.
He nods, but he still walks beside you as you walk. You go straight to
That's the plan.
the room. So, I will say that the guard reminds you that he is not in his current home. He is in a different kind of guest room, since his current home is still under repairs, is what you are told. And so you are led to the room, and the guard knocks and announces you before the door opens. It's a humble room. It's certainly not an archbishop's room.
Mhm.
and Duskleys is it's kind of like someone trying to do an important meeting in a hotel room. So it's like the desk, the furniture is not quite where it needs to be. There's a bed there, that kind of thing. But they have pulled out a chair and a table with a chair across from him, and Duskleys just kind of looks at you with an even look as he motions.
I'll stand.
Sit. What'd you say?
I'll stand.
He just looks very tired. So, my home. The others, I was told that the other morning you were requesting blueprints of Kethek's domain area where my home is.
I have done only as grandfather asked.
And what exactly did he ask of you?
Best way to phrase this. To remind you that because walls are old doesn't mean they're impenetrable.
Of course. He seems to be, it seems ever since you've come around, Kethek has been, interested in finding ways to bring these old walls down.
For a better wall to be built, maybe they have to come down.
I see. You know, there are ways for walls to come down. Strategic, planned ways that don't involve scaring half the city.
And yet no one was injured, were they?
Was that because of your cunning or your luck, I wonder? And yet still, you have chosen secrecy.
I had other business to attend to.
Ah, yes. Business that made you too busy to let me know that Kethek has asked that my walls to be replaced.
A child sparked into an Anredo.
I had heard a rumor or two. You were involved in that?
I was requested to help the child find her domain.
I see. So you were given a request to deal with that and thought that blowing up my home was a good thing to do quickly.
It happened on the timetable it needed to happen on.
Ah, I see. So for your personal timetable, it blew up at precisely the moment without anyone else being made aware. And yet you ran from the scene.
Didn't much fancy the city guards taking a stab first, ask questions later approach.
And from what I understand, ran to the goddess of mommies for help.
I think you just happened to be walking through the area, okay?
I'm sorry, the goddess of what?
Mommy.
Mommies.
That's canon
I-
now, by the way.
Okay, I don't
Helene is
follow.
referred to as the goddess of mommies.
Mommies. He's making an implication that you ran to mommy, basically. But instead saying you ran to, like, Helene's apostle for help.
Ah.
Ran to the goddess of mommies.
I'm sure Helene's apostle would be very intrigued to find out how you refer to his goddess.
Well, good thing that it's not any of her damn business, now is it? This is all within the family. And as family, it's important that we stick together and make things right.
Is this where I inform you of my latest order from Kethek?
And that is?
And I quote, "Tell Duskleys to remove the stick from his ass."
He looks very tired. As he go ahead and make an insight check for me.
I think I'm good at those.
That's good. Lithia, no.
Sorry. Maybe it's time for him to have a performance review with HR.
26.
26, yeah. Yeah, that's good. Duskly's, this is not necessarily, sorry, fucking Saphira. This is not necessarily new of an issue for you, where you do something Kethik has told you that has pissed off somebody here. So you know that Duskly's can't exactly doesn't exactly have a lot of teeth here in challenging you. That being said, he's definitely not afraid to make your life harder. I see. Remove the stick up my ass, indeed. Well, if you would like to go run to Grandfather for all your little troubles, instead of working with us here, you can certainly go ahead and see how much he'll care.
Like I said, I have done only as he ordered.
And does doing as he's ordered not give you some thinking skills on how to go about these things?
If I didn't have thinking skills, I wouldn't have purposely picked a section of the wall no one will ever be at.
Right. There you go again. Excuses. I am hereby saying as Archbishop that while I cannot stop an apostle from doing the work that you're doing, I will say that anytime you have a request from our family, whether it involves metal use or plans, I will have to make sure they oversee through me first. Rohirri, you know this to mean that he can't stop you, obviously. He's just adding red tape to sort of basic function stuff for you. Whether that matters to Rohirri or not,
I don't feel like
completely up to her.
bureaucracy really has ever been Rohirri's concern.
No. It's just more of what this will do as kind of an effect is your background effect and request for certain like medals and stuff like that. There's going to be more challenging obstacles in your way to get those quickly.
You'll need more than just your cousin next time.
And perhaps the next time that more of these things happen, well, I guess we're going to have a nice family reunion discussion. And Rohirri, you know that to mean that he's going to try to make it that call a meeting with all the bishops and you and some of the priests, which, again, is really not a threat, but it sounds really annoying.
I feel like Rohirri just kind of rolls her eyes.
Careful, Rohirri. You try to blow up some bridges, you'll find people are not always willing to come and help you reconstruct them when you need it.
Well, we're both here in the interest of family. What was the town we were at with the shadow stuff?
Kalsamia.
Kalsamia.
What have you been told about the happenings in Kalsamia?
Lots of things have been pretty hush-hush about those events. All I know is something about objects coming to life and a house.
Shadow creatures that, when combined, were able to possess 2 houses, actually.
Shadow creatures.
Most concerningly, if there is enough of them, what's to stop them from possessing walls?
I see. I wouldn't say he relaxes, but he seems, he's taking your concern a little seriously, but he does kind of eye you a little bit. And what exactly can prevent these shadow creatures from possessing things?
The only things it seemed they couldn't possess, short of us damaging them enough to be difficult to repair, were living things. When I talked to grandfather, he mentioned perhaps working, was it with Helene? On the living walls?
I think so. That sounds
Right.
right.
Mhm.
Perhaps working with Helene on living walls.
On living walls. So now we're gonna have to put some stupid ivy on these things? Well, since you have such a great relationship with Helene, perhaps you can lead the call on this action to order. Order for action, excuse me.
I'll see what I can do.
You do that. Dismissed. I don't want you in my sight anymore.
He'll just head out.
Okay.
She's got other places to be.
You're like, I
Right.
want to leave, but I don't want to do it because you told me to.
I'm not leaving because you told me to. I'm leaving because I want to.
Nereus, you receive a notice back. It takes a couple hours, you know, they're busy,
Mhm.
administration, all that stuff. And you get a notice back that they have not actually heard anything. This isn't super unusual, as usually Everine they explain that Everine pretty much only comes like once in a while to sort of maybe update some things with the Archbishop.
Mhm.
But otherwise, you know, his job, it's kind of like, you think of the fact that, like, his job, Everine's job very much is like archaeology on the scene kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And the bishops and
it.
archbishops really only take, like, the full research of it, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So it can be
absolutely.
a long time usually before anything that Everine's found can really like reach as a big thing of like the Archbishop's collection, if that makes
He's
sense.
a field academic.
Exactly.
Well, that would mean that there's unlikely to be any evidence in the embassy. Very well. This remains our best bet to get to the root of what the problem is. I'll see how, what's her name? Nathaniel?
Arya.
Arya?
That's it, Arya.
Not even close.
I was
Which fits in well with the whole old man thing of just getting people's names like completely wrong.
Hey, Nathaniel. Arya.
Arya.
Nathaniel. Yeah, right. You.
Stop dead-naming me, Grandpa.
On my day, we only had one name and a last name, sometimes two middle names.
Alright, I guess in my day we actually had a lot of names.
All right, so we had a couple. We didn't go around changing them, except for nicknames and like the name your mom called you and your baptismal name. Anyway, it was better then. No, he'll go check with Arya and see if she's calmed down at all.
She's calmer. She's a little bit more assured now that she knows that there's gonna be backup. You can tell also that she cares a great deal for Everine. So to think
I was
that
actually about to poke
Yeah.
that.
go ahead, go, yeah, you can poke it.
Arya,
Yes.
your concern for Everine is, I think, quite laudable. You both work together frequently, don't you?
Oh well, it's historic as apostles of Athala and Estrin worked together as they were twins. So
That's true. That's true. And how long was ever an apostle? Was an apostle first, or were you?
Oh, we. I believe he was in the role for maybe no more than a year or two when I joined.
So, really, you've both come up together in this thing.
Yes.
That can build quite a bond.
She glances down. There's a light blush as she nods. It can. He's always got the next thing to look into, to research.
It's around a lot, I imagine.
Yes, he's often has many things that he has his nose in a book or on a stone tablet, so to speak. Frequently.
All sorts of intimate relationships come with boons and burdens.
She blushes a little bit harder as she just kind of shifts. That is a poetic way of putting it, Nereus.
Well, we will do our best to make sure he is taken care of. But should it come to it, are you prepared to defend yourself?
Well, unlike some people's goddesses, I do carry armor and weapons with me.
Good. I hope it doesn't come to that. I
hope-
just, need to be ready for all possibilities.
Right. She nods.
Well, hopefully soon our companions will be here. And if not, we will meet this certainly not a necromancer very soon.
Of course.
He's definitely not a necromancer, though.
Oh, I hope he isn't. That would be awful and terribly rote.
Yes, it would be very rote, and it would be just in
Just
the...
so predictable.
especially in the graveyard, it almost seems stupid that we came here.
I know.
Right.
I'm not exactly sure what we're going to be finding. I mean, clearly it's got to be, something more that's not related to graveyards at all. Else, what else do you find in a graveyard?
Well, goodness, what else do you... mourners. Find
Mhm.
mourners in a graveyard.
That's true.
Grave diggers.
Mm. Oh,
That's
well,
interesting.
that's illegal though.
Well, the grave diggers, not grave robbers.
Oh,
But
fair
you do find those too. You can find, let's see, old flower pots, I guess. Might do that. That's the thing about graveyards is really it quite novel, but everything in them really it revolves around the graves.
It's true. It's true.
Yes,
It is a yard of graves.
it is a yard of graves. That's a lot of dead people. Do you know? Do they put stones on top of the caskets here when they bury people?
Yes, there are stone markers.
No. I mean
Oh,
on
sorry.
top of the casket in the ground.
Oh.
Yeah.
That sounds ingenious.
Right.
I mean, there's 6 feet of ground on top of the casket as well, right?
Yeah. I just have a feeling that a zombie can get through that so quickly. All right. Well, just, I'm sure it'll be fine.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Saphir, did you want to speak to Lithium before the graveyard?
If I can find him.
Wait, what? Speak with Lithian.
Yeah.
Okay.
Where are you, Lithian?
If it's before the graveyard stuff, if we've all been called by Nereus to meet somewhere to talk about hey, we're pretty sure something might go down, then you could easily find him, as we get there, or if we've all been telepathically linked, ask him to meet you elsewhere prior to that.
So she'll just meet you by the church to the south of the graveyard. So she shows up in the midday and finds you and nods. Is the girl all right?
Yes, she's doing well and taking to the changes of her life quickly and well. She's very resilient, whether that is a trait that she possessed before or is part of her sparking. She will do well.
Can she even understand what has happened to her?
I think that when you're young as she is, you see the world differently.
You see the world how you're told to see it.
So, does that absolve you of any of how you see the world then? We have no choice in the matter?
We have some, but your choices are limited as a child. You make the best you can with them. What
When
choices
it comes
does
to
she have?
actions, perhaps, but I suppose her parents did one thing correct if the way that you see it is to be believed, because she seems to have a positive, a joyful look on life so far.
Yeah.
Who taught you how to see the world then, Saphira? For someone who is supposed to bring joy, you don't seem to have a whole lot of it yourself. Who's to blame there? If not you.
Glad the girl's okay. I hope she still is when she realizes that she'll be dead soon.
I am fairly confident that if she continues on the path that she is, she will realize that time isn't the important factor in our life, but what we do with it.
That is true.
Is that all that you had on your mind that you wanted to ask?
Is that not enough?
I don't think that you have ever reached out to me to meet you and talk before.
You're the one who took the girl. Had Rohirri taken her, I'd have reached out to her. I don't know if you believe that I came here with some alternative purpose. I just wanted to know if she was okay. I wouldn't have been.
Speaking from experience, when you were chosen,
I was 18 when I was chosen.
which means you had a bit more of those expectations that aren't yours put upon you.
Yeah. Wow. My mom
do it.
raised me to be a proper acolyte.
Can I do a insight check to see if there is anything else that
Sure.
might be on her mind? Because she could just leave. That's all she wanted to know. Oh, dice are on your side today. As an 18, I'll put a side dice on there.
I will leave this
22.
up to you, Saphir, of how you want to handle
yeah.
this.
22.
I mean, on 22, I think you can probably tell. Like, she didn't sleep last night.
Mhm.
She's fucked up. Like, she really was affected by what she saw yesterday. And whether she's just looking for company or someone to talk to, like clearly talking to her goddess did not help her in the way that she had expected it to.
He finds like, no, actually, hold on. Let me take a look here really quick. We are where on the map?
We're like here.
Over there. Where would and maybe there isn't, maybe we're really good at hiding it. But where would you say like a slums or sort of poor district would be? Would it be near us at all or no?
The border lines on the bottom here.
Borderlines. Okay. I would invite Saphira to walk with me then.
Sure. Yeah, she'll walk. with me.
And maybe just, I think, make smaller talk asking about what's brought you into the city recently, whether you give him answers or not, is fine.
Yeah,
But I
she-
think
he mentions
he
that she's here pretty frequently.
yeah, I think he would try to do his best to maybe distract you from those feelings and those thoughts until we got to sort of the poorer section of the city. And then would bring the topic back up and ask again. Why is it that you think that you're so bothered, so disturbed by not just her sparking into Anredo? I think you see that her life has been cut short. There's nothing you can do about it, and that's what's causing your distress.
My distress, Lithian, is that our entire culture, our entire system is built around being able to control this, and a child went through it. And no one seems to think that matters.
What would you have them do?
At least talk about it.
Is
Recognize
that something
it.
you should be present for? Or would be present for?
Maybe someone should be.
I mean to say, do you think that the gods aren't doing so?
Not mine.
Sorry, I missed that.
Not mine.
I think he lets out a bit of a chuckle, but he doesn't say anything. There's a lot that happens in this world that shouldn't. You were raised to focus on joy. You were raised to focus on the ignorance of being able to ignore pain and suffering. Well, what happened to that girl was perhaps a more egregious example that should have been prevented. It has happened. I believe that the gods will get to the bottom of why, and the likelihood of it happening again will remain abysmal. But what about the others who suffer? Do they not deserve some attention as well? And I think he would start to sort of motion around to some of the poorer areas here. And again, there's probably children here that you can tell are starving. I don't know how bad crime necessarily gets, but I assume that in Alcana that there is still crime, that there is still poverty. Some of the reasons that seem to be bothering you about what happened to that girl are everyday occurrences for many, many more who will never get attention.
It sounds to me like you also realize it's broken.
There are many broken things about our system.
They need to be fixed.
They do. But even amongst the gods who were once mortal, there isn't always an answer for everything at any time, and we do what we can, where we can, when and how we can. As they're walking along, I think he would take out and drop a few copper or silver, whatever he has, into the hands of some of them. There are people who want for nothing, and yet they still take. And there are people who want for everything and have nothing. And there always will be. There isn't a perfect system that is going to satisfy everything and everyone.
Maybe it's
You
time we
are-
all stop pretending that ours is.
Perhaps. Perhaps. But we're not all pretending. Saphira, maybe you're just starting to wake up.
Well,
Think on it.
I'm glad you have all the answers. Comforts me to know someone does.
No, you haven't been listening, and that's the point. We don't have all the answers, Saphira. We can't, we never will have all the answers, but there's a certain level of acceptance that you must try to maintain if you are to do anything about the things you can control.
That's not good enough. People look to us to lead them, to help them. If we are going to just accept that some people suffer, then we're not doing good enough. You're right, I am waking up.
Good.
Just kills her right there.
Guys, it's getting kind of dark.
Yeah, we wander back
We're-
where we're supposed to be, yeah.
We're in the graveyard, and
Oh, I wouldn't go there. There's necromancers in the graveyard.
that's why I. All right.
Have we asked him to maybe meet us anywhere else? There's a great tavern downtown.
I said to meet us in the graveyard because that's where Everin was supposed to meet
I know.
us.
Have
Yeah.
we told him that maybe we'd like to meet somewhere else?
We have not tried to contact him.
I would say that Arya has, and he hasn't responded other than saying that he would be at the graveyard in the
Great.
evening.
Once we do meet back up with everyone else after our little
Powwow.
heart to heart,
Heart to stab
Lithian would recommend, if possible, obviously we don't want to fight if we don't need to fight. So while they meet him, Lithian would like to do his thing in the shadows, and when we get eyes on Everine, would like to try and use detect thoughts in conjunction with the psychic and the connection and stuff, and kind of do like a similar thing that he did with the shadow stuff, and see if we can't get into Everine's head and kind of broadcast what he's thinking to everyone, so that we have more sort of insights into his intention or state of mind.
Okay. For detect thoughts, there's no save for the first part of it. How?
Yeah, the surface level thoughts you
Correct.
always get.
Okay.
And that doesn't have to, again, I have no idea like where you're planning on cutting us off, but that's just something I'd like to do if possible.
Okay.
When Saphira sees Rohirri, she's like, "So how'd it go?"
Bureaucracy in my life for the foreseeable future.
Ew.
My
As
thoughts.
much
Oh.
as much as I do love having my hands tied, that sounds horrible.
You all made it. I had a great night's sleep last night. How have you all been?
She
Fine.
looks like shit today.
All right.
Wonderful.
Oh, good. It's you. I suppose we need everyone we can get.
Fuck off, Arya. What's
Oh, I was gonna say,
happening?
who was that to?
That's to Arya.
Right.
I don't have the patience for this either. Let's just wait to. And as she talks, there's a flash, and suddenly Everine is standing before you all
Outside of the
looks-
graveyard?
in the graveyard. Well, sorry, like
Like he
this-
appeared in front of us.
yes.
I'm gonna say, I'm just saying, I think we were outside the graveyard, away from the necromancy fuel.
I
We were definitely in the graveyard.
I've kicked all of the headstones over. So if the zombies try to get up, they hit 'em.
I have brought in a large cement mixer and covered the entire
That's actually
graveyard in
I would like to
concrete.
I would like to retcon what I've been doing for the.
I think Rohirra also mentioned that her rail cannon is like
Correct.
is like aimed right
Correct.
at
Yeah.
Yeah.
the graveyard as
Right
well.
where Everett's gonna appear, just vaporize.
This shit is a parking lot now,
As-
and
We're building a Denny's.
we're making yes.
why do I smell asphalt?
There's
As he appears, she kind of raises her eyebrows. You know how to make an entrance.
I see you brought some more people here, Arya. Well, I was concerned, and they happened to be in the area.
You did say
worried
it was,
for you, Everin.
You did say it was important.
I suppose that is true. No matter. The more people that hear me, the better. I need something else that's like creepy music.
Creepy music.
Yeah.
Hag's Hovel is a classic. Deathwalker's Ward.
Can I just protection from evil and good Arya?
Yes.
I
you
was
can.
thinking about doing the same thing.
You absolutely can.
Detect thoughts on him just for surface level maliciousness.
He's thinking about titties.
His thoughts. It's strange because his thoughts seem it feels like it's not just him,
Yeah.
but you can't really recognize. Well, sorry, that's not true. There's his main. There's the thought of sort of like the scattering, the kind of like weird
Is there a
Squeaking from the-
familiarity
yeah with
to the,
with
to,
what
like the things? Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. I
But-
just sort of clue everyone in on that. That
But
there's
you- yeah.
Yeah.
And you hear him thinking, they'll know. They have to know the truth. And he looks at all of you, and I would say the other unusual thing about him right now is he's carrying what looks to be some old weaponry. Like knives and swords and shields. They don't look in poor condition. They just look, in fact, actually, they look very, very nice. And it doesn't take long for you all to recognize, while you may not know specifically what they are, you know that these must be old artifacts of weapons, maybe used once upon a time by somebody, or someone's, so to speak. He looks at all of you. I have been traveling across this land, and I have learned a bigger truth of this world. Things that will bring the deities to their knees.
Is that
I'm gonna shoot him a look, and then the screen, two black cards like pan onto my eyes like this. I stare at him.
What have you learned?
I have learned that the future of this world cannot continue as it is now. It will fail. It will fall. it will crumble. I encourage you to join me in this truth. Every, what is going on with you? I have simply learned. I have sought knowledge, and I have found it.
It's not the knowledge that worries us, Everin. It's what you intend to do with it. Are you suggesting that you are now an avatar of this fall? Or a herald?
I don't deal in such flouncy things. I help with the great experiment.
Your loss in sophistry is pointless. Speak clearly, plainly. You know what we will do to you if you do not.
Very well. Are you all in line with this man?
For you to give us answers instead of speaking in cryptic clues? Yes.
Look, I got the hammer, and you're starting to look an awful lot like a nail, bud.
What is the truth that you speak of, Everin?
As you all look at him, he starts to now appear a little different. His arms and legs are suddenly now uneven lengths. His gait is odd and shambly. Section of his chin droops like it's melting off his bones. And his eyes are cold pits of all-consuming void. We all live happy and content as long as we cling to one simple falsehood. The gods will always provide and never fall. But I've learned the reality of it. Those who choose to remain oblivious will only find oblivion. Now go, as I continue the great experiment. Withers, feast, and atrophy. Everyone raises his arms to the ceiling, up to the sky, as the ground shakes. Something inky and black bursts from his stomach, splitting his body into two parts. As the top torso and head fly back against one end, while his legs fall forward in pools of blood that surround all of the artifact weapons. That familiar inky black shadows scatter across the graveyard and sink into the earth. There is a shift, a rumble, and then one skeleton arm pushes out of the dirt, followed by a chorus of eerie screeches.
I knew it. I fucking knew it.
Well, I
And
guess
that is-
I guess we're not gonna have to explain why we killed him.
And that is where we will leave off for today.
All right, so the first thing that should be among what Saphira wants to change about the world is we cremate everybody.
Right.
All right? Everybody gets
Step
burned at death.
one, everybody is
Yep.